Prepare yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 220. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this noxious Saturday evening, Earth date February 12th. That was really hard for me to say. 2022. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Full. I got distracted. I'm sorry.
February 12th.
February. Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
You suddenly turned into like a toddler.
I am a toddler.
It's February 12th.
Welcome to Dueling Ogres, where it's February 12th. Yeah.
You do a disturbingly good little boy voice.
Just wait until I get all kinds of weird, crazy filters on and everything. It'll be uncanny.
So how you been, man?
Whoa.
What? Oh.
Huh?
Oh, how have you been? How have I been?
We said it at the same time. I was just getting ready to, and then I heard a cat meow at me, and I was super confused.
Well, I say we mix it up. First off, shoot the cat.
Don't say that too loud. God, Ginger hears you, she'll shoot you. She doesn't even like firearms.
She doesn't even like me.
No, she likes you. Well, right up until that comment. But yeah, speaking of shooting you for cats, so did I mention actually on the podcast about our neighbor?
No, you didn't.
Okay. So we now have an 8th cat. So that is 8 cats and a dog. Yeah. And the reason we have an 8th cat is because our neighbor passed away, and she wanted us to take care of her 15-year-old cat for the rest of her life. So when we initially got the cat, story time, everybody. When we initially got the cat, good. She was just stuck in the bathroom, specifically in the tub. So,
like, she just didn't want to leave?
No, she did not want to be out of the tub at all. So we eventually needed to get a shower. Can't really shower with a cat in there because they generally don't like water in the first place.
Yeah, you would get your naughty bits mauled.
Yeah, absolutely. So we ended up moving her to my room. Now, for those of you who may or may not remember, I'm actually allergic to cats. I live on antihistamines. It's the only way I function. Otherwise, I would be a writhing, dripping mess of snot and tears.
Right.
Constantly full of itches that cannot be scratched.
God, your house, like, literally, for anybody who's listening, I'm also allergic to cats, and when I go into that house, it's maybe 20 minutes before I'm sniffling and feeling red.
Yeah. But you have an aversion to antihistamines too, so
yeah,
you don't like the way they make you feels.
I don't like the way they make my body feel.
Of course, have you actually had any since? I don't know either. Have you actually tried any since redoing all of your medications and getting everything kind of squared away to what it is now?
No, I haven't tried one in a long time outside of the antihistamines that are in like cough syrup.
Yeah. You may want to give it a go. Maybe it'll help you out some. At least for instances where you have to come over and suffer through my house.
Yeah, well, there's nothing that can fix having to go over to your house, Remington.
What do you mean, buddy?
I just mean that visiting you is a hellscape.
It is.
I'm just saying, and I don't mean any offense by this.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I would rather cut off a toe than visit your house again.
Don't listen to this motherfucker. He literally asked me like last week if he could come over and do laundry. He
No, I love
didn't.
your house.
And Brandon actually loves cats. He's just allergic to them.
Yeah, I really love cats. Well, not to that extent. I realized after I said it that it sounded like it was to that extent. I don't fuck cats, okay?
So anyway, going back to it, we took the cat, and she was in the bathroom, and then we relocated her to my room. She has become my buddy. We now have a baby gate up because she does not want any of the other cats in there to pester her. Vehemently has said with a British accent and everything that she will not tolerate them coming into her abode. So
Hell of a cat.
that's yeah. It's been super weird.
What's the cat's name?
Bella. Bella is the cat's
Bella.
name. Bella. So, but no, she's at least opened up to me and Ginger. She seems relatively comfortable as far as just being where she is. She'll come out when she thinks it's time for me to be in bed and rubs up against me and is like, "Hey, fucker, maybe you should have been in bed an hour and a half ago instead of being up at 4:15 when you have to be at work at 11 or awake at 9." Because that's a
5
real thing
hours
that
is
happens.
fine.
It's fine, cat. Don't judge me.
You British prick.
Yeah. Other than that, I haven't really been doing. I've just been working. I have a list in front of me of a lot of different things that I want to do. Switching the sounds over to Sirenscape Online for the D&D episodes. For those of you who don't know, we have been streaming our D&D episodes. We've actually just streamed 1 or 2.
Just one so far.
Okay, just 1 so far. So that's. I think it's still up on the Twitch if you want to go watch it. I haven't pushed it to YouTube yet. That's on the list.
Is it twitch.tv/dueling ogres?
Twitch.tv/dueling ogres. Yep. That's what it is. Yeah, go subscribe to us. Just straight up subscribe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
No, don't subscribe because fuck Amazon. They don't need any of your money.
But Amazon is not doing so hot.
I don't give a fuck. They kicked us off the platform.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did. Fuck you, Amazon.
Yeah, fuck you, Jeff Bezos, you bald-headed bitch.
Damn, coming in a little hot, Remington.
Take your fucking penis-shaped spaceship and shove it right up your ass.
Jeff Bezos is listening to this podcast right now, and he's like, all of this money cannot cure a broken heart.
And you know he is because Alexa picks it up and is like, some bullshit podcast is talking about you.
2 total losers.
2 fat fucking nerds. All right, so I've got hold on. I've got switch to Sirenscape Online for the sounds for the podcast. I want to build some new podcast scenes because I've been recording in OBS. I have gotten rid of Voice Meter. I think I mentioned that in the last episode.
Yeah.
Or maybe I didn't. But I know I told you, and that's all that matters, really.
Shucks.
I've got to put out the D&D episode to YouTube. I've got some work for other streamers to do. I've got to add the intro and the outro for Stand for the Fire Demon to the scenes, work on the website redesign, and then actually do a spreadsheet for potential costs for our cruise that we talked about last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course you're making a spreadsheet because you're a huge fucking nerd.
Yeah, exactly. Don't fucking judge me. At least I'm organized. Eat a dick.
I just gotta make my spreadsheet here for my cruise I'm taking with my beloved.
Listen, I just have to use Visual Basic for applications to do all the calculations for me. Why?
So when was that cruise again?
I don't know if I actually said last time, but it is October 3rd through October 7th. I actually left work. We get out at like 3. We were done by 4 because there was a lot of catching up to do. Because me and the girl that I worked with this Saturday, because they're on a rotation, and then I usually work every Saturday. The girl that I was working with today, when she and I get together, we get fucked.
Oh,
We get absolutely slammed or are just steady to the point where we can't catch up with things all day long.
we're not talking about sex, right? Or are
No,
we?
we are decidedly not talking about sex.
Okay, that's terrible then. So you
Yeah.
guys just get overwhelmed?
Yeah, pretty much. It literally happens to both she and I constantly. So anyway, so we were done about 4, and then I got on the old computer and I did my passport application because you need a passport to go to the Bahamas.
Oh yeah, I would never think about that because the Bahamas are just so synonymous with cruises that I always just assumed as an ignorant American that they are part of the Americas.
Yeah, we don't own everything, you capitalist pig dog.
You jingoistic asshole. I
Yeah,
wanted to use prick, but I already used prick.
yeah, that's fair.
You couldn't double dip the prick.
No, you can't prick twice.
Right.
Prick me once, shame on you. Prick me twice, shame on me.
Can't get pricked again.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. This podcast is already off the rails. So how have I been, you asked?
Yes. How the fuck have you been?
I have been pretty good for the most part. I stopped taking one of my bipolar meds. And I think it was like in a fit of mania, I decided, like, man, I feel great. I don't need these meds anymore. So I stopped taking one of them and then immediately hit like a giant manic phase where I was like up for almost 24 hours, which I used to do all the time, but I don't do anymore. So I was up for almost 24 hours and I felt like I was vibrating and I came up with all these grand ideas for things I wanted to do with my life and then just crashed.
And then and then crashed, and then the depression kicked in.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I should probably go back on these.
Well, I mean, at least you learned a valuable lesson that this is a medication that you do absolutely need.
Yeah. But I came up with the idea for a role playing game based on reality television.
Okay.
So I started to come up with rules for it. I started to come up with like what the DM would do. He'd be called the producer. And then everybody would play a character in the reality show and you would roll off in like charisma challenges or physical challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would go to a point where every player takes on the role of an executive producer, deciding what the contestants are going to do the next round.
Huh.
So that was my idea. So I was working on it and I was like, man, this is going to be fucking awesome. I can put this up on Kickstarter. I can put it like $100, send it out on itch.io. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So then I Googled reality tabletop RPG and there's like 2 of them and one of them was on Kickstarter like a year ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it was very disappointing.
I mean, were they anywhere close to what you were doing? What you were thinking?
One of them was like shockingly close.
Like maybe you read that when you were doing the research for the other podcast where you talked about Kickstarters and you were like, meh.
I retained it just enough to steal it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, but I mean, when you think about it, it's not like a really crazy idea, you know? Like, a reality TV show about, or a tabletop RPG about reality shows. That's not like that wild of an idea.
No, not really.
But I would like to make a tabletop RPG. So if you think of something, let's collaborate.
I don't fucking think of ideas. You know this. If you have a really good idea, I'm great for helping to flesh it out. Wow, I don't know what the fuck my voice is doing. I kind of like
becoming a man,
dude. I floated. I like started to go a little southern there for a second, but it was subtle. I don't even know if you picked up on it, but I felt it.
Oh, I declare.
My mouth just went all kind of wibbly wobbly on it. And now I've completely thrown myself off.
7
What was?
p.m. is the southern hour, is what it is.
Yeah. What the fuck was I saying?
You were saying something about biscuits and gravy and grandma's sweet tea.
Oh, fuck you too.
No, you were talking about how you're not the idea guy.
Yeah. I'm not. I can bounce ideas and then have ideas that way on ways that might either improve it or make it more interesting or turn it on its side, maybe if that's what it needs to be. But I don't have them by myself.
Okay. So say I
It's
come up
kind of
with an
annoying.
idea that's awesome for a Kickstarter, okay?
Yeah.
I work with somebody else and we come up with an idea and we break down the money and everything and we're like, okay, here's what we need to break even, blah, 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 blah. And I come to you as I would to help me set up the Kickstarter because you're good at that kind of stuff, behind the scenes stuff. So I think you would be good at setting up a Kickstarter.
Right.
What would you expect pay wise? Would you expect a cut of or a percentage of the total sales, or would you expect like a flat fee up front?
I would probably do a flat fee up front.
Okay.
Like if you were going to come to me and be like, "Hey, I want you to do this. I'd like to pay you for it because I'm your friend. You know, I'd just do it for you for free." But
Yeah.
so you'd have to put that descriptor in there, otherwise I'm just going to do it for free. But if you're like, "Hey, I want to pay you for it. What do you want?" I would probably just take the upfront fee. Because
Okay.
after the Kickstarter, you know, what do I have to do with it? You know, if none of the rest of it is my ideas or anything, then there's no point in me asking for
A
a
percentage of it.
percentage. Yeah, for sure.
What if you do it for me for free and then the
Hmm.
Kickstarter takes off and we make $1.5 million on it?
I
Do you
hope you'll
feel
remember your friend Remington.
do you feel if I don't give you any of the money, do you feel slighted for doing the website for me for free, doing the Kickstarter?
No, absolutely not. I got paid for my work.
No, but this is if you do it for free.
Oh, no, because then I would have offered to do it for free. Like
Really? I feel like I would feel jealous.
well, you might. I won't because it wasn't my project to be jealous of, you know? I think it's just not a way that I work, really. I mean, I've been jealous before, but by and large I'm not a jealous person. And jealousy to me is really kind of just wanting something that I can't have and probably didn't deserve because I didn't go out and get it in the first place.
Okay.
So now let's say you do the thing, you hit it big, you make it, and I did the Kickstarter for free. Like I said, I hope that you remember your friend Remington who did the Kickstarter for free, and you come back and be like, "Hey man, you did this. We made fucking billions off of it or millions. Here's, 50K just for helping out." You know, that would be the good friend thing to do if you felt like you wanted to thank me monetarily for it, but I wouldn't ever expect it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you came up with 50K pretty quick.
I didn't want to be greedy. You you made millions.
Yeah, that's true.
I just want to
You're
pay
like,
off my house, man.
just slide your buddy a cool 50K and we'll call it square.
Yeah, it's square.
No, see, I feel like you and I are a duo at this point. Like, we've hitched our wagons to each other. You know what I mean? For lack of a
Right.
better term. We
Mhm. I
are
like that term.
hitched our wagons to each other. It's a mutual. No, I won't go there. But
What
we
a
are
mutual
working.
what? Like mutual masturbation, is that what you were going for?
That's why I didn't go there, Remington, because I'm a
Too
grown up.
bad.
You always, you
Says
always
the
have to
guy who
drag
was
it down.
like says the guy who was like, "I'm going to go take a nap before we do the podcast." You didn't, but still you said it.
I worked today, thank you.
So did
You
I.
lazy fuck.
I got 3 hours of sleep and then went in and worked my ass off. Not your
There's
fault.
no video, but I'm shaking my head.
Not your fault. I couldn't get to sleep, but still.
But to my point, we're a duo, and if you succeed wildly, I wouldn't expect for you to drag me along and let me like be a feeder, be a feeder fish on your shark belly.
Right.
But at the same time, I would be a little hurt if you didn't at least offer me a nipple to clamp onto.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Oh, well, that's just it. I mean, that's an idea that I've always had, is that if for some reason I lucked into a lot of money, I'd take care of my family first, and then I'd take care of my friends immediately after.
Of course.
So, because unlike some people, not you, but just some people in general, I love my family. They're all pretty fucking cool people, so.
Yeah, you do have a cool family, and I feel the same way. I love my family too. And the thing I like about my family is I feel like if I won the lottery, they wouldn't expect me to buy them things.
Right. Yeah. And same with mine. But I would. I'd totally take care of all of mom and dad's bills and Vanessa's and immediate family too. I'm going to throw that out there. Not that I don't like the rest of my family. It's just that I don't talk to a lot of people. So as I've done research for ADHD and trying to figure out if I had it, there's the concept of object permanence, where
Okay.
if you can't see it, if you're not interacting with it, it doesn't exist for you. And I have found that I wrestle with that really hard. So if you have ever wondered why I may not follow up with you and ask you how you're doing if you're having a downtime, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I don't care about you. It has everything to do with the fact that my brain isn't thinking about the fact that you exist.
Okay.
which sounds super fucking terrible, but it's just the truth of it. Like, I'm thinking about all these other things, and then, fucking 3:00 in the morning, I might be like, oh fuck, Brandon wasn't feeling good, I wonder how he's doing, and then message you.
Yeah, except
But
for the part where you message me.
yeah, and then I usually get distracted because ADHD, and then I forget to message you. And I walk through a fucking doorway and I lose it.
Yeah, that's fine. Old Brandon will be all right, like an old sturdy workhorse.
That's right, hitched to my wagon.
Just dragging you behind me, plodding along.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I was thinking about that. Like, I know we need to get into the stories because we've been talking for a minute, but who cares,
Yeah, man, this is our fucking podcast. We'll talk about whatever we want.
I was thinking about that. You do so much for the podcast as far as like editing and doing stuff for the website and shit like that. Like, you put in a lot of work for this podcast and for the YouTube channel. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate you appreciating me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited about the fact that you have branched out and started doing more podcasts.
Yeah, I did. I think I mentioned it last episode because I'd already done it. Yeah, I had. I did it earlier in the day. The RPG Academy podcast. You can find it just by searching RPG Academy. I was on an episode called Econ Fundamentals, episode 2. So it's about 2 weeks back, and it looks like they put out an episode like every 4 days, so you might have to go back a couple episodes to find it.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
But they're prolific, and I'm recording another episode for the podcast as a guest host again tomorrow.
That's awesome. See, yeah. and then you've got We're Probably Not Okay.
Oh.
And then the little offshoot of that, which is brand new.
Yeah, We're Probably Not Monsters.
Yeah. And then I feel like it was pretty recently that you did another guest spot, didn't you?
No.
I'll have to send you something that I found.
Okay.
And I want you to watch it.
Is it pornography?
Pornography, yes.
How weird would that be if I'm like, dude, you've got to watch this. And then it's
Dude.
not even like weird pornography. It's
No,
just
it's just the guy has a weird cock. It's a ponderous penis.
Ponderous Penis. Well, I know NPC you guys are going to come across in D&D now.
The ponderous
So,
penis.
Ponderous Penis.
Oh, that's good. All right, yeah, let's do some stories for fuck's sake.
You want to go first or you want me to? How many stories do you have?
Well, I have the potential of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Although I grabbed a couple extras mostly because I'm not sure if I have anything that lines up with yours. Because,
Okay.
like professionals, we don't tell each other what we're fucking bringing to the table.
Well, I feel like that's professional in a way because then we can surprise each other.
Yeah, you like to surprise me with it.
Yeah.
A-
Although
and
my
then
stories
occasion-
this week. Oh, go ahead.
And then occasionally you bring one and I'm just like, yep. And you're like, okay, then I thought I was going to get more out of that.
Thought we were going to get more out of pickled babies, I guess.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I will say for you and for our loyal listeners, my stories are kind of weak this week.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I have anything great either, but we will we will
podcast.
party on, Wayne.
I don't know if we have any good stories, but please just listen. Subscribe to our
Please.
Patreon.
Do those things. Do that instead of subscribing to the Twitch. I will say that. Like if you want to watch us on Twitch and you want to give a subscription, because that's a thing for people who don't use Twitch, you're fewer and farther between. But fuck Amazon. Don't give them your money. When you subscribe to us on Twitch, we get it's a $5 fee for the lowest tier, and then we get half of that. And then Amazon gets the rest. Twitch gets the rest, but Twitch is owned by Amazon. So
Yeah.
fuck them.
How many subscribers do we have?
Well, none. We've just gotten back to streaming again, so
Oh,
you
damn.
gotta
I was
earn
going to
'em.
try to pin you to the wall about my $1.75 that you owe me for every
$1.75.
subscriber.
Oh,
Yeah, because
yeah.
we get $2.50 per subscription.
Yeah.
So you obviously owe me $1.75.
Well, yeah, if we had one, but we don't.
Okay.
Because we literally just started streaming. I don't know how long, or it's been, I think it was 3 years, nearly 3 years since I last went live.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, had school and stuff. Like I was kind of doing it here and there when I was working at the mattress place, but then school hit and I just didn't have the time to dedicate to that.
Yeah. Do you plan on getting back to it at any point?
I don't know. We've talked about it before, but the job leaves me awful tired. So, and then we're going to be streaming Dungeons and Dragons nearly every Sunday whenever people can play. So, I'm okay with doing that for now.
Yeah, I'd say going back to my favorite topic, which is myself, I feel pretty comfortable with the output that I'm doing now, like the 3 podcasts, 2 technically, but 3 total, and then the D&D one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in a good place, listeners. I just want to say I'm in a good place. I'm happy.
Yeah. Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, from comicbook.com, our favorite news site that has all the ads forever, Dungeons and Dragons inspired musical announced for this summer.
A Dungeons and Dragons style musical?
Uh-huh. A musical about a group of Dungeons & Dragons players is set to launch off-Broadway this summer. Here There Be Dragons, a new musical quest, is a new musical featuring book and lyrics by Chase O'Neill, music by Theo Terrace, and orchestrations by Scott Wasserman of Hamilton and Dear Evan Hansen fame, and directed by Austin Harrelson. The new musical features a group of Dungeons & Dragons players embarking on their final quest together before they graduate college. Per the official description of the musical, the characters will, quote, contend with their anxieties, fears, and obstacles manifested as fantasy monsters and locales to discover what their futures may hold. Other themes include the trepidation and excitement of growing up, holding on to what's dear, and moving forward in life without one's quote-unquote swords.
Huh.
I thought that was going to get more.
Oh no, I
seriously.
was thinking because there's two.
I was just fucking with you.
Okay. There's two parts of it for me. Like, one, I love musicals and I love Dungeons and Dragons. So
Right.
those are two things, two great tastes that taste great together. But I'm also kind of sick of seeing Dungeons and Dragons everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's just me. I hate
Everything.
That's all there is to it. I just hate.
You just hate. Yeah, you have this long-standing feud with anything that becomes mainstream. I don't understand it. It becomes mainstream for a reason. It's because people like it. It's okay to like things that other people like, Brandon.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean,
other
you're a
people are
fucking
so
Democrat,
lame.
like.
I'll have you know, I was registered independent until my last relationship, where I was browbeaten into registering as a Democrat.
Browbeaten. That's fair.
No, I was registered independent. I did switch with my last relationship, but I wasn't browbeaten, I will say.
Yeah.
I did it under my own
You're just saying
volition.
that because she listens to this podcast.
No, she doesn't. Why would she? She had enough of me.
There's a reason why she's your ex.
Yeah.
And it's because of the podcast.
Yeah.
Ruining relationships for the past 7 years.
It's either me or the podcast.
Well, baby.
Well, so until next week, baby.
Keep your clubs blunt and your tusks sharp.
Rest.
You know the rest there.
Good night. Oh shit. But yeah, do you have any it's not going to be filmed, I'm sure, because most of the time off-Broadway and Broadway productions aren't filmed and put out.
Yeah,
it's a big deal when they are.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of have to reach a certain status before, like, you can watch it, I guess.
Yeah, and from what I understand, there's a lot of, like, legal loopholes to jump through, too. To, it's get the rights of the performers plus the musicians and then the music itself, too, and the writing. It's all just like a big mire.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what to think about it. I thought it was neat, and I thought it'd be interesting to hear your perspective. I honestly didn't know, after all these years, that you're kind of a big fan of musicals.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I love musicals. Chicago, Jesus Christ Superstar, Little Shop of Horrors is good.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't know.
Jekyll and Hyde, I love. I saw, when I was in high school, I went on a trip to New York twice. I went on 2 trips to New York and saw, like, a shit ton of Broadway and off-Broadway plays. So I saw, like, Phantom of the Opera, Jekyll and Hyde, Cats, The Lion King.
Huh. That's weird. I don't think I ever realized that. I learned something new about you every day, buddy.
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
You did the exact same joke in the exact same voice I was about to do.
Right. It's that endearing yet condescending voice.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I learn more about you every day, huh?
Right.
So Hulu has ordered 20 new episodes of Futurama. Did you see this?
I did not. I didn't know that we were jumping right into another story, but let's go.
Yeah. Did you have more to your story?
I mean, there are more paragraphs. I don't think I need to read them. Here There Be Dragons is set to premiere at the Players Theater in New York City, with performances beginning Thursday, June 16th, and set to run through Sunday, July 11th, 2022. Cast and full creative team will be announced at a later time. So there you go. If you want to go see it, go over to New York City. New York City? That's right. I'm pulling that old gem out. Where are you going to get your salsa? New York City. Yep.
Polishing off that dusty 6-shooter of a joke.
Right, yep. And yeah, that's it. So do that, I guess. Support your local theater in New York City.
Fly to New York. No matter where you are, fly to New York and go watch this off-Broadway play.
Damn right. So yes, Futurama. Let's go.
Futurama. Hulu has ordered 20 new episodes of Futurama, bringing it back for the 3rd time. It has been canceled twice already.
Yes, it has. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I've seen the episodes that from the second uncancelization.
They were good.
Really? Because I think I watched maybe one or two of them, but I love Futurama, and I've definitely watched all of the other episodes multiple times. But I don't think I ever got to watch the rest of the Bring Back.
Yeah, who brought them back first? Was it Netflix or was it Adult Swim?
Neither. It was Comedy Central,
Oh, okay.
if I remember correctly.
And you do, I'm sure. Or not, who cares?
Yeah, fuck it.
It was the CW, Futurama CW edition.
Oh my. much like every bit of programming on the CW, the professor was like, "Good news, everyone! It's a suppository."
Just like that famous episode of Riverdale, where
Yep.
Archie gets a suppository. The original voice cast is set to return, except for John DiMaggio, who is the voice of Bender.
Weird. I wonder why John wouldn't come back.
From everything I've seen, he's still in talks too. He's just asking for more money than what they're offering.
I mean, that's fair. Bender was a pretty big spot in the show. I mean, don't get me wrong, all of the voices are iconic, really, because all the characters over the run of the show got their own fleshing out of said characters. But I think on the second Bring Back, did they have the same voice for Hermes? Now I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'm not going to research it, but I feel like I thought maybe they couldn't get the original voice actor for Hermes, but I could be wrong.
The
Maybe
actor
it was
that plays Hermes is Phil LaMarr.
Oh
and
yeah. I
he is
forgot about
returning.
that.
He's
Okay.
returning for season 3.
Man, Phil LaMarr is kind of an unsung awesome person in the like voiceover world and such.
Yeah, you see interviews with him. There's one on YouTube that's like an interview with him talking about his most famous characters, and he does the voice for each character as he discusses them, and it's really good.
Oh wow, I haven't watched that. I like the funniest thing is all I remember Phil LaMarr from is the upbeat coked out UPS guy from Mad TV.
Oh yeah.
And that's all I can see whenever somebody says Phil LaMarr. I just see him bouncing around in a brown outfit, lunging, lunging at people.
This is full of this episode is full of old references that anybody, but our listenership tends to skew older anyway, I think.
Yeah, we're a bunch of old bastards.
We're not getting a bunch of 18-year-olds listening to this podcast.
No.
What the fuck is Futurama?
And see, that was a Mr. Ed reference. Hello, Wilbur. Sometimes Brandon forgets that I'm actually an 80-year-old.
Yeah.
Calling all the way back to fucking Mr. Ed.
Oh, shit.
Brandon's like, we weren't alive then. You may not have been, Sonny. I don't.
Bastard.
I much like anything, I probably won't watch it, but I am excited that they're bringing it back. I'm just not going to get
cool
Netflix
they're bringing it back. Hulu, it's coming to Hulu, and I just
I'm an idiot.
I don't really
sorry.
have any. It's okay, you are. I don't really have any interest in getting Hulu. You know?
Yeah, I understand. That's it. Although I will say this: Hulu actually has a lot more programming than you might think.
Oh, I know they do. I just don't have the money to pay for all these subscription services.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I use Spotify. No exaggeration, probably 2 to 3 hours a day I listen to music on Spotify.
Oh wow.
And I still cannot justify getting Spotify Premium. It's $10 a month, and I'm like, fuck you. Because they you listen to it. Do you ever use Spotify?
I do. We use Spotify at work, and I use Spotify whenever I am doing something that doesn't involve me listening and editing other people's shit.
Do you have premium?
No.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about then. You listen and like every 2 songs it'll be like, "Why don't you try premium and get rid of these ads?" And it's like, "Fuck you. Don't put the ads in here to begin with, you son of a bitch."
Yeah, how dare you fucking pay for your platform through ad revenue?
Well, Spotify famously pays the artists that are on their shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I don't it's just like with YouTube premium ads. Fuck you, YouTube, fuck you, Spotify, and fuck you, Remington.
All right. Speaking of
Okay.
YouTube, you gave me a perfect
Perfect.
segue, Brandon. Thanks.
That was intentional.
Apparently on YouTube, the propaganda machine is real for the Beijing Olympics. The
Okay.
opening ceremony showcased subtle propaganda and not so subtle power politics, with it being kicked off officially Friday with the opening ceremony as China proudly projected its might on the most global of stages, even as some Western governments mounted a diplomatic boycott over the way China treats millions of its own people. This year's Winter Games is also a game of competitive narratives. China's slogan is "Together for a Shared Future," but many draw attention to the country's human rights records. As the Chinese flag entered the national stadium, Bloomberg's Andrew Brown, part of the NBC broadcast team, described it as a part of the fanfare of the games the White House did not want to contribute to. The United States and some of its closest allies, including Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom, are not sending political delegations as part of a stated or unstated diplomatic boycott of the games. The White House cited the host country's human rights abuses against the Uyghurs, Uyghurs,
Yeah,
in the
I'm pretty
north
sure it's Uyghurs.
in the northwestern region of Xinjiang, suppression of democratic protests in Hong Kong, and political and religious repression of Tibet's Buddhists. Quote, "It is obviously the most sensitive issue of the Olympics," said Brown. China says the accusations of genocide are the lie of the century.
Of the century, they say.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Well,
Uh,
I have no reason to distrust China.
um, I guess I don't watch enough Olympics. I mean, okay, so as far as that goes, yes, China has a long-standing record of human rights violations as far as it goes. I think that they've stepped up their game for some of it, and then, you know, the microscope falls onto places like Northern Korea and stuff where you see more of the atrocities going on than in the previous, you know, country with all of the atrocities.
Yeah,
I
I mean, I can't really speak to what's going on with China because while yes, there is a lot of human rights violations going on there, I feel like, and maybe this is just my paranoia a little bit, but I feel
mhm.
like the government and the media is starting to push this narrative about how evil China is
Uh-huh.
because they're trying to start something in the next like 20, 30 years for war.
Yeah. That very well could be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the human rights things are terrible, but I don't know enough to really comment on them outside of the fact that they are happening
Yeah.
to a certain degree. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just, and I mean, we look at where we are now with Russia talking about invading Ukraine, and that's all fucked
Mhm.
up too.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, man. I'm kind of the mind that there are human rights violations going on all the time in the United States as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's the
And
hypocrisy of the entire thing.
yeah, and what yeah, is maybe not happening on a grand scale like some of these, but it's happening in little pockets all over the place, and that doesn't make it any better.
Well, you talk
Or
about the people being held at the border still who were
yeah,
trying to cross illegally, and we just put them in cages and shit. Those people are still there.
yeah,
You know, that could be considered a human rights violation, and in my opinion, it is.
yeah.
But
And I
then you
don't
have
really
the
know
argument
anything
from the
about that
other
one.
side that's you have the argument from the other side that's like, well, if they came in illegally, so they don't have the rights of an American.
Right,
And I personally believe that every person should have the rights of an American if they're in America, you know?
right. Or just have rights in general. Like,
have the right to not be crammed into a cage with 50 other
Yeah,
people and have to sleep
treated
on
like an animal. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Well, this took a dark turn.
Yeah, well, we've got a whole lot of other stories to bring it back up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess my viewpoint on it is there's even to the point where like there are programs in the United States that are being abused from one perspective, looking down and making people and being basically a human rights violation in some of these programs even, versus, you know, other programs where all the people who are taking advantage of things like the SNAP program.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm following your train of logic.
I don't have a fully formed thought for this. So, okay, you know, the main argument is, so like the idea that is half formulated, you know, there are the people who have the problem with the people who are abusing welfare, and that's 100% a thing that happens, but not everybody who's on welfare is taking advantage of that system.
Absolutely.
Also, that system is broken as fuck. It is.
How?
Here's the reason
Okay.
why.
All
You
right.
you and I, me even less so, because I don't have any children. My sister can get an exorbitant amount of money for the number of children that she has to feed them, more so than she actually needs. She has straight up told me that it's more so than she even needs. I tried to get SNAP when I was barely working in school and just trying to scrape by to survive. They offered me $5 whole a month.
$5 a month?
$5 a month is all that I was approved for.
Did you take it?
Hell no, I didn't take it. It was a joke. Why would I go through all of the trouble to do that for $5?
Said $5, $5. You've done worse for $5.
No, I haven't. I charge at least 10 for the worst things.
Here's a secret though. They're all the worst things. Everything you do with your hands is the worst.
That's true. So, but then you have the other types of programs that keep money flowing into people's pockets who already have money, and it oppresses the people who have the lower income and keeps them in that lower income bracket. You know, there's something to be said for these programs being broken, and the fact that nobody is working hard on a grand scale to fix these problems. And then even if you do manage to fix them, there's still going to be the people who take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And that all kind of wraps up into human rights violations to me. It's not, you know, we're not out and out, you know, putting a lot of people in concentration camps or working them to death or just killing them in the streets on a grand scale, but it's something, like I said, that does happen in little pockets all over the United States where people overstep their bounds and then they maybe get a slap on the wrist instead of real jail time or real repercussions for it. It's weird. It's weird, but it's also one of those things where my brain starts to hurt because there's just so many people and there's no feasible way to make all of that work flawlessly. It's just not a thing that
Yeah.
can happen. You can try and get close, and that's the best that you can do because everybody's moral compass sits in a slightly different place. And what's okay to some is a rights violation to others. And what's disgusting to some is it could be worse for others.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think the violations in China are a little bit more serious than like
Yeah.
somebody. I don't think it's fair to compare the two between food stamp stuff and
No,
people in
not
China being put in concentration camps.
No, not as far as that goes. Like those are wildly different spectrums of the thing. It's not really a comparison. It's just saying that they're different levels of rights violations.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, some of that stuff that I mentioned is on the far side of like, is it really a rights violation? Well, yeah. I mean, somebody's basically getting stepped on to, benefit somebody else.
That's capitalism, baby.
It's true. That is capitalism.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, give me another one.
Do you want a happy story or do you want corporations are evil story?
The segue works well for the capitalism thing.
Yeah. Okay,
All right, guys,
we'll go with that.
We're gonna stay a little dark. Just work with us.
So on the lines of capitalism and the chaos that it can bring, there's a YouTuber named Gilva Sunner who puts out Nintendo soundtrack YouTube videos.
Okay.
So all they are is the soundtrack to different Nintendo games. And Nintendo has hit him with total 3,500 copyright strikes.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So he's come out and he's like, I'm not making any money off of these. These aren't monetized. There's not ads on them unless they put them on there. So I don't know why they're doing this.
Yeah. And that's a valid point as far as that goes now, to a certain extent. Let me see how I'm gonna word this.
Because you're about to be a curmudgeonly old grandpa who's going to say, well, he knew what he was getting himself into.
Well, to a certain extent, if there's anything that we've learned over the years of doing this podcast, it's you don't fuck with Nintendo.
That's the one big takeaway.
Yeah, they're like the Disney of the fucking video game world.
Yeah.
And they have, on several occasions over the past 10 years and more, have hit people with copyright strikes for playing their games online, posting content of them playing the games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as curmudgeons go, Nintendo's quite the curmudgeon.
Now, they really are.
I think they've laxed up on the whole watching people play the games thing, mostly because there's totally money to be made there. But if he's not monetizing them, and if the algorithm picks up that it's copywritten content and automatically creates ads and ad revenue for Nintendo because Nintendo owns the rights for it, that's what should be happening. That way Nintendo's getting that ad revenue.
Yeah.
That's why that system exists.
The guy's argument, too, is that these soundtracks aren't available anywhere else. They're not on Spotify. You can't listen to them. His channel is the only way you can listen to the soundtracks for some of these games.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what the executive decision at Nintendo is for not publishing the soundtracks for their games. So that's kind of fucked up, especially when there are people who love the soundtracks of games, even if it's just, little chiptune shit.
Yeah.
Like there's an entire market for that. There's a market for everything, and there's an entire market for that.
I have the soundtrack to Chrono Trigger downloaded on my phone that I listen to sometimes.
Yeah. Now, I will say the dark side of this is that there is ways to download YouTube videos for free and just have those to have. Hell, using Voice Meter, I can set it up to record these things and just have a copy of it.
So you've messed around with YouTube and streaming and stuff way more than I have. What does a copyright strike do exactly?
So usually it used to be
the article says copyright blocks. I don't know if that's different than strikes.
It may be, and I don't know what the difference is for that. As far as the copyright strikes is, it used to be that if you got 3 copyright strikes, you were in some deep doo-doo.
Yeah.
Then there was a pretty large amount of backlash for that. YouTube struck up deals with people and said, okay, if there's some content that you're publishing that you don't own, we're going to monetize that video and give those monetizations to the company who actually owns it. There's inherent problems with that as well. For instance, Ookla the Mock, we use some of their music under their permission several years ago for an episode, and we were worried about it because we got a copyright strike or a copyright claim for that music from some random company that they happened to have published under one day.
Yeah.
And they were claiming the ad revenue from it. Not like they got anything because we don't make any ad revenue, but still.
It's the goddamn principle.
Exactly. And we had permission from the artists who own that music. So there was no reason to copyright claim us, except that just because we had the permission of them doesn't necessarily mean that we had the permission to use it.
Yeah,
which is a
because we had
whole
their
other can of
permission.
worms.
We didn't have permission of their publisher who they go through, because I looked into this a little bit. They were through a company called CD Baby, which is a pretty big company that will take your published music and basically copyright claim it on YouTube for you.
Yeah.
So I guess it's pretty common that most musicians will go through CD Baby or something similar when they put their music online.
Yeah. So, and, I guess as long as they are getting the kickback, Ookla specifically, then I guess it's whatever, no big deal. Especially supporting them. But you said the copyright blocks?
Yeah. I don't know if a copyright block just straight up keeps it from being published at all.
Yeah, I don't know either. It very well could, though. It sounds a lot more
final
and nefarious than copyright claim. But either way, yeah, I mean, to me, Nintendo, they're flexing a muscle that they don't need to flex. Like, just take the fucking ad revenue from it and be happy.
Yeah, well, and it's just like what they do with ROMs. Like, if they're re-releasing their games, I understand it, but they go after websites that offer ROMs for games that they haven't put out in 20 years.
Yeah. And there aren't they usually ROMs that you can get for free, right?
Yeah, ROMs you get for free.
Yeah. So, like, you may pay a subscription to use the service, but that doesn't mean you're paying for the game. So that's your loophole for that.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of an argument for ROMs. Not any that I agree with. I think ROMs should also be, available and free to play for all of those older games. I mean, there's no reason to curtail nostalgia in my mind, but and there are people who have put a lot of work to make those ROMs work on computers or with emulators and shit,
Yeah.
And they've done it for free. So
yeah, all those ROM sites would have donation buttons, but they wouldn't have buttons for you to like subscribe to get these ROMs. I'm guessing because they were trying to do it as legally as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a big proponent. We've talked about this on many episodes at this point. I'm a big proponent of keeping this stuff alive. And not necessarily in the sense of like making my 14-year-old daughter sit down and play retro video games and be like, that's Kirby, learn to love him, one of those things. But
right. Even though you do that.
Yeah, I sit her down and I shake my finger. You couldn't see it, but I was wagging my finger as I said that. Learn to love Kirby. But yeah, I think it's important to keep this stuff in the zeitgeist because it was so formative, not just to my early years, but to a lot of people's early years. Nintendo games and Sega games and arcade games, things like that. Stuff that you can look back on now and be like, man, what was I thinking? Those graphics are terrible. But when it comes down to it, it's still part of the history. It's like looking at an old computer and seeing a floppy drive and being like, huh, that's crazy.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's the same thing to me anyway.
I agree. I think those older things, there's no reason for it to not shouldn't be making a profit from them because they haven't slipped into, because it hasn't slipped into public domain or anything like that, of course. So you shouldn't be like turning around and selling Nintendo's old ass fucking games. But there should be something to be said for allowing people to download and play the ROMs of these games that are no longer published and just enjoy the nostalgia of it.
Yeah, well, and on the same topic of public domain, did you see what just hit public domain January 1st?
Huh.
A little bear named Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we can do a Winnie the Pooh cartoon now. We can't do the Disney version because the Disney version is still copywritten or copyrighted, whatever it would be. But the A.A. Milne Winnie the Pooh character is now public domain.
Oh, bother.
See, you can say that now
without
the fear of Disney suing you.
Yeah. Unless they came up with the oh, bother. I've never actually read any of the original Winnie the Pooh.
I have, and I'm pretty sure he says "oh bother" in it.
Okay,
he either
good.
says "oh bother" or "well fuck nuts." I can't remember. It's one of those two. Can you say "oh fuck nuts" in a Winnie the Pooh voice for me, Rim?
I'm not very good at a Winnie the Pooh voice anyway, and also wouldn't it be the Disney Winnie the Pooh voice? So I guess I can say it however I want. Fuck nuts.
Hey,
oh,
it's
bother.
me, Winnie the Pooh.
Fuck nuts. Get over here, Tigger.
I got some honey to share with you.
Show me that tail that you got that you bounce around on, huh?
I think I love this Winnie the Pooh the best. Fuck Disney. But I have something perhaps controversial to say, and I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
Nintendo, my fuck shit of the week.
Oh.
And I'm currently deep in Pokemon Arceus right now.
Dick deep in Arceus. Yep.
Well, I was trying not to go there, but yes, I am.
Nope, I'm going there.
I'm buried quite heavily up the shaft with Pokemon Arceus.
See, I mean, dick deep is funny, and then you take it up the shaft, and now it's like weird.
Is it?
No, it's fine. Everything's fine.
I was gonna say
somebody's
if I can't talk about my shaft with you
and everybody else on the internet.
Yeah, all 12 listeners.
All right, is it my turn? Do I have some things?
It is your turn.
Sweet. I love having a turn. So these are kind of a couple of stories that kind of tie together. DC making some moves with the new movie, and what do you think?
Are you talking about the Batman?
The Batmans, and then the whole trailer that they had for DC The World Needs Heroes is what the video is called.
I don't think I've seen that.
So the video in question, this is also from the wonderfulcomicbook.com. I love to hate them. The video released from Warner Brothers DC Films is The World Needs Heroes. It is a short trailer featuring all of the Warner Brothers DC films releasing in 2022. The trailer included new footage from The Batman, Black Adam, The Flash, and Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. Black Adam was by far the highlight of the video, with the official first looks at the Justice Society, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher. Fans were eager to share their thoughts on all the DC films, but especially on Dwayne Johnson and the Justice Society. Not surprisingly, the reaction was mostly positive for the DC team's live-action portrayal. Also, it features in the Flash snippet of the video, you can hear Michael Keaton as Batman reading the line, "You can go to any timeline, any universe. Why fight to save this one?"
Yeah. And then we knew that Michael Keaton had been cast in one of these movies, but it's cool to actually hear his involvement and see it. Is there a timeline for when these movies release that you have up?
Let's see here. I hate it when they reference 412 tweets.
Yeah, I know. That's the worst.
In their fucking article. It's like, we don't need all this shit. I get it. Justice Society is trending. No, they don't list any of the release dates for any of those on either of these articles, it looks like. But the second article is specifically focusing on Keaton's return as Batman. After hanging up the cape and cowl of the Dark Knight when walking away from the Tim Burton-less Batman Forever, director Andy Muschietti gets Keaton back in black for a trip through the DC multiverse alongside Ben Affleck's Batman. According to producer Barbara Muschietti, Keaton and Affleck both became quite emotional over stepping back into the roles they thought they'd left in the past. Batman is a very dark character. I think once actors inserted, meaning they inserted the word actors. So I
Okay.
think once actors play the role, they are done. I think this was a bit of a surprise for both of them, Muschietti said during the virtual DC fandom China. It took them a while to warm up to the idea of reprising, of playing this character again, especially Keaton. Keaton had not been Batman for 30 years. Muschietti added, it was, quote, amazing to see both of them, both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton, get quite emotional at coming back once they were with us, and they got to put on the cowl and the cape.
See, I have a hard time believing that about Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton has been going around for the past 30 years talking about how good of a Batman he was. Like, he literally has interviews where he's like, I'm the only Batman. He would end interviews by saying, I'm Batman. So I feel like she's probably blowing a little smoke to be like, well, it was a little hard to get him back.
I mean, maybe, probably.
Yeah.
But still, he was the best Batman.
Yeah, I would agree. He was a good Batman.
Would you?
I'm not hating on Michael Keaton. I'm just saying
for
that
sure.
He definitely has carried that mantle with him for the past 30 years.
The cowl, if you will. He's carried the
I
cowl.
will, and I will.
So I'm pretty excited about it. I actually am a huge fan of Michael Keaton as Batman. He was my favorite Batman, live action Batman. And I'm kind of excited to see if they're going to. So Bucky last week was talking about giving the nods to the Spider-Man and how they had an actual like mini storyline that, you know, kind of fleshed out for them. It would be interesting to see if they're just going to do cameos in these DC movies or if it's going to be like a full part of the story with some mini subplots realization happening in it as well.
I would be surprised if they just had bit parts in this, especially with the Flash movie, because
Really?
they're doing
Flashpoint?
Yeah, because Flashpoint, where he's jumping timelines and shit and jumping dimensions.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see those two Batmen meet each other. I would bet money on that.
I remember when we were younger and the comics were reprising these time jump things in the actual comics, not in comic book movie land, and how it tickled me as a consumer watching each company like jump on that bandwagon, and then to see it again in the movie side of things. It's like there's so many stories that exist.
Oh yeah.
So much material to draw from. So much material that's even bad that you could make better that don't involve following the same formula that the other guy is doing.
We're going to be getting superhero movies for the next 20 years. Easy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I'm okay with that. But like, oh, there's a bunch of time travel over here in Marvel. Oh, there's a bunch of time travel over here in DC.
Yeah, you're going to see them aping each other a lot, I feel like, these next 20, 30 years. Yeah, I think superhero movies, and again, I know this is something we've talked about too. I hate that I always say that. Like, oh, we talked about this. It's like a tick for me, but these movies have become their own genre that are here to stay. There's always going to be superhero movies now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm not a big DC guy. I'm a more Marvel guy. You know, make mine Marvel, as they say. So
yeah, I don't know what that means.
Do you want me to hit my Marvel story, or do you want to go?
Oh, I mean, if that, yeah, man, if that's your, no, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, so Disney Plus, and I didn't know this, although I guess this has been around the internet for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Disney Plus is relaunching the X-Men animated series.
Oh.
Yeah, and the exact same art style. It's going to be
Oh,
called
weird.
X-Men 97, and it's picking up where the X-Men cartoon left off, with Professor X being taken to space to be healed by the Shi'ar.
Huh.
And the thing I'm most excited about with this is that it has almost all of the returning cast voice members.
Oh,
So
wow.
Wolverine, Rogue, Beast, Storm, Gambit, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, and Mr. Sinister are all being reprised by the same voice actors from the 97 X-Men.
That's interesting.
Fucking
And
awesome.
kind of weird, kind of interesting, and a whole lot of awesome. People's voices change over time, so it'll be interesting to see how well the voice actors were able to keep up with the original feel of it. Of course, we have
Yeah.
gotten older as well, and the voices are going to be new to the kids who watch it, but to us with our older ears, maybe we won't notice as much of a difference.
I mean, you listen to any interviews with Winnie the Pooh and you can tell how different his voice is now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, where it's changed. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. How you doing over there?
And Disney Plus
I'm Winnie the
also
Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh there. Disney Plus has also released the first official poster for Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series.
Yeah, I saw something as I was reading through labels about a Pac-Man in Obi-Wan. Did you see anything about this?
No.
Yeah, apparently the poster itself, it's been going around the internet that people are making fun of. He's on Tatooine. Obviously, there are two suns in the background. One that's really washing out the background there, you know, and then the other sun is slightly above it, and there's a cloud hanging just in front of it, and it kind of looks like Pac-Man.
Huh.
So that's
Pac-Man and Obi-Wan confirmed?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Wonka 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 wonka.
That should be pretty interesting. I hope we see Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not sarcasm. Like, Jar Jar Binks as a character was not great. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But he is part of canon, and I think if they introduced him and did it in a way that, like, was true to the character but not over the top, like, ooh, I stepped in poo or whatever, you know. I can't do a Jar Jar voice. I think it would be interesting, and I think it would help to tie the I think it would tie the series together even more.
Yeah. I agree. I don't have a problem with Jar Jar coming back, to be honest. I mean, yeah, he wasn't my favorite character either. I didn't mind so much the amount of comedy relief that he brought to it. I think the slapstick was a little over the top sometimes. I do love the idea of him being a Sith Lord.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that and you being very behind that idea.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And if you have never heard of this, fall into that rabbit hole, go Google it up. Jar Jar Binks, the Sith Lord. And it's an interesting tale to read for sure.
It is.
All right.
That's
I think
all my stories, so it's all you at this point.
Okay. I've got a couple of other ones, but I'm just gonna hit this one. 5 million shipwrecked Legos still washing up 25 years after falling overboard. The ship Tokyo Express spilled its Lego cargo after colliding with a rogue wave. A once-in-a-century wave that pummeled a cargo ship in 1997 caused the worst toy-related environmental disaster of all time. As the vessel Tokyo Express pitched and rolled near the UK's southwestern coast, 62 shipping containers tumbled off the ship, and one of them dumped nearly 5 million plastic Lego pieces into the ocean.
Holy shit.
Soon after the event, which some referred to as the Great Lego Spill, beachgoers in Cornwall, UK began finding brightly colored plastic Legos. Even now, 25 years after the February 13th disaster, numerous Legos from the spill still appear on the beaches of Cornwall.
Of course it's in a place called Cornwall in the UK.
Well, I mean, all of their names are kind of silly. Hey, UK listeners, you got silly names over there. Stratford-on-Avon.
We call it Cornwall because there's a wall of corn over there.
Coincidentally, many of those sea-tossed Lego pieces were nautically themed. There were tens of thousands of octopuses, life jackets, scuba tanks, diving fins, and pirate cutlasses, along with the terrestrial shapes such as flowers, witches' brooms, and dragons, said beachcomber and writer Tracy Williams, author of, quote, Adrift, The Curious Tale of the Lego Lost at Sea, by Unicorn Publishing Group, 2022. Williams began collecting beach Legos in 1997 in South Devon, UK, soon after the spill. More than a decade later, she launched the Lego Lost at Sea Facebook group, where people shared photos of the Legos that they found on British beaches, Williams told Live Science. This article is from Live Science, by the way, just so you know.
Good.
Quote, in 2010, I moved to Cornwall to be close to my family. Oh, wait, hold on. Quote, in 2010, I moved to Cornwall to be close with my family, and on my first trip to the beach, I noticed Legos from the spill again, Williams said. I was amazed that it was still washing up after all this time. On that fateful day in 1977, the Lego bricks and objects had been loaded onto the Tokyo Express in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and they were bound for New York, but disaster struck about 20 miles off the coast of western Cornwall in the form of a rogue wave.
That must have been a hell of a wave to knock. How many shipping containers was it? Like 40?
A lot of them.
Okay.
62.
62.
62. And just one of those apparently is the one that dumped 5 million plastic Lego pieces into the ocean.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I want to go scuba diving for Legos though.
I will say that there's a comic in here that was also linked in this article. It happened 25 years ago, the worst toy-related environmental disaster ever known, the Great Lego Spill. And it's kind of reprising like what I kind of read there. Inside one of the lost containers, 4.8 million Lego bricks, many intended for pirate or Aquazone themed sets, 418,000 diver flippers, 97,000 scuba tanks, 92,000 cutlasses, 353,000 daisy flowers, 26,000 life vests, 13,000 spear guns, 50,000 brooms, 26,000 ship riggings, 50,000 sharks. Oh my God, Lego, they released 50,000 more sharks and 54,000 seagrass fronds.
There's enough seagrass fronds in the ocean already. What are you doing?
Yeah. Where are the fish gonna hide from the predators? In more seagrass, I says.
You do says indeed.
I do says indeed. So yeah, that's kind of a nice little short read if you don't want to read the whole thing that I just read half of it to you. I'm sorry. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, that's my Lego story. And that's my Lego story. I thought I was going to get more of a laugh from you. If you have any questions or comments or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us on 978-DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. You can also write us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment or a message on the Facebook page like these nice people, Brandon, go. We probably don't have any yet. I haven't seen
We don't
any.
have any yet because we just put up the episode like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So we don't have any comments as of yet.
We're trying to get back on track, everybody. So that means you're going to have to start listening a little faster.
We're doing our best, okay?
I'm not making any promises because who knows when I'm just going to drop the ball and not fucking edit an episode for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So enjoy it while you can, I guess.
Yeah.
We have such a great relationship with our listeners. We really do. They put up with so much.
We do. I love them so much. You know who else I love, Brandon?
Who's that?
The patrons who support our stupid little show.
But who are they?
I will let you know as soon as I pull up the thing because I don't have them all memorized. I mean, I do have them memorized, but I don't want to stumble through it. I have every last one of you memorized.
All 65 of you.
All 65. I'd like to say special thanks to Bucky the Blacksmith, a.k.a. Bucky, a.k.a. that guy over there, a.k.a. I'm not going to say his real name because that ruins the mystique. You can watch him also joining us in the D&D episodes. Chad Good as well. Chad was in our D&D episodes, and unfortunately he has internet that is just awful, and it made it really frustrating for him to try and join us. So I'm really sad.
Yeah, I would like to have him back at some point.
I agree. I miss him.
Yeah, he
I'm
brought
not gonna
something
lie.
to the show. He really did.
Mm-hmm. Also, we have Heavy No More. Fat Tony, the Diamond Man, Reverend Stephen Hines, Mumfrey, Tatiana, Jenny James, Tonic, and that's it. There's 9 of them. There's 9 beautiful people who contribute to the podcast every month, and we love your face so hard right now. I just want to let you know that.
I will kiss every one of you on the
Yes.
cheek.
Yes. With permission.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna leap at you like Pepe Le Pew.
I will. Oh, the moon. Oh, the June. Oh.
So yeah, the moral of that lesson is do not go near Remington if you're a patron.
Make sure to subscribe at our website at duelingogres.com for news shows and articles pertaining to some of your favorite geek news. I stumbled through that. We haven't put up a new article in a hot while. Mumfrey, write us an article. Mumfrey, why don't you get to work over here? Winnie the Pooh needs to make his honey.
Write us an article for free, Mumfrey. What are you doing?
Free. What are you doing over there? You're just sitting there doing other podcasts. Who do you think you are?
Oh, man.
We also want to do a real quick shout out to Sean, our newest listener, who is just laughing it up, and that's what we like to see.
Yeah,
he did comment on the fact that we published the new episode, sent us a screenshot on Messenger, and just typed in joygasm. So I liked it. It was very nice. I responded with
Sean.
Sean, and I responded with, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll edit that up a little bit, but so yeah, and he laughed at that too because I like to justify my stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't encourage Remington, Sean.
No, don't do it.
Don't encourage his stupidity.
But while you're at it, go ahead and leave a 5-star review on iTunes or find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and nearly anywhere else you can find a podcast. Make sure to check back on the YouTube often and give us a couple of subscribes over on the YouTubes. I think we're just a couple away from 100 subscribes.
Yeah, we're at 98, 97 or 98.
We need to be at 100. Or more. Well, I mean, really, it'd be nice to be up in Markiplier numbers, but that's something that'll never happen.
No, that will not happen.
But yeah, pop on over there and watch the Stand for the Fire Demons, the ones that I have put out so far. Those are early ones. We have relaunched the Stand for the Fire Demon kind of campaign. We closed the story arc and we are starting anew and taking it a little bit more content creation friendly to where I think we're all on board on putting it out and kind of making content for it.
Yeah.
But I do have the other episodes up. Here's the funniest thing about this, everybody.
Is it
we had
funny?
recorded, yes, it's so sad it's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the train wreck of my recording life.
Yeah.
You can't look away. We had recorded at least 30 episodes of Stand for the Fire Demon. I did not have
All gold.
OBS. Yes, every last one of them gold. I did not have OBS set up properly to record anybody else's audio, which means that there's a whole lot of me moving my mouth and hearing what I'm saying, and then everybody else is like fucking mimes just over there flapping their lips, and me just going, haha, yeah, do that thing. Yeah, it's the saddest that I've ever been.
Yeah.
That's
not going to happen with the relaunch.
Nope. I keep fucking feverishly making sure that everything is going according to plan as we're going.
So if you've made it this far into the episode and you haven't checked out Stand for the Fire Demon and you like D&D, basically what it is, it's a homebrew world that I created based off of a musician named Rocky Erickson who put out an album called The Evil One. And I have based each leg of the adventure is based off of a track off of that album, which is why it's called Stand for the Fire Demon. So I heard the title Stand for the Fire Demon and was like, that is badass. I got to write something around that. So that's where the world came into being. At least this continent came into being. So that's what it is. We're trying to take it as seriously as possible while also being funny. We're not like shying away from joking or anything, but we're still trying to make it a good story that follows through with characters and things.
Yeah, for sure. And also, we'll have to make sure to link down in the episode notes or whatever what song from that album is this leg whenever we put them out. Just kind of down at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, the song for this leg is called It's a Cold Night for Alligators.
Yeah. All right, everyone. That wraps us up. Until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp.
Good night. Okay, so I've got the recording started, and we'll hit the podcast start marker just for that, and then once I actually do the thingy, I'll hit the other marker. Okay, cool. That's that. I need the script.
The script.
The script. Dueling Ogres script. 220 episodes. And I need a word for the day.
Gravely. Grave.
Gravely? Oh, yeah, gravely doesn't work, but grave, yeah.
On this grave.
I was thinking of
Saturday
doing
evening.
noxious, just because you were talking about your noxious beehole.
Yeah, we can do noxious. I can talk about my noxious beehole. I can talk about my noxious beehole for 45 minutes.
Sweet. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about that noxious beehole, bro.
And that's the episode that rockets us to stardom.
We'll call it Brandon's Beehole. Episode 220, Brandon's Beehole.
No, don't call it Brandon's beehole.
Yep, that's exactly what we're going to call it.
Right,
even if
fair.
we don't talk about your beehole now.
People are going to see it downloaded and be like, Brandon's beehole, finally. And then listen to the episode and be really disappointed.
Super disappointed, yeah. All right. Okay. I'm getting ready to go.
Okay.
I'm going to turn myself down a little bit. I feel like I'm too hot.
I'm going to turn myself up thinking about cats. I mean, thinking about petting cats.
Okay. Is that better? Is that still okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
All right, cool. I just felt like I was like getting right up on it.
Get down on it.
Ba-da-da.
I'm drinking coffee. I'm trying to bring energy. I worked today. I'm tired.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to summon the energy from my stomach to be ready to record.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That's a little bit better. Okay, yeah, I definitely don't need the gain filter. Let's remove that.
Are you fucking this whole thing up?
No, I'm not fucking up anything. It's fine. Everything's fine, Brandon. Everything's fine. I'm just adjusting things on the fly, because that's always a good idea, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's
You can't just leave well enough alone.
Nope. Gotta touch everything constantly. Gotta be touching it with my little nasty, grubby little dirt fingers. Yeah. What was I just talking about?
I don't even fucking remember. You've taken this so far off the rails.
Uh-huh.
It is never coming back onto the rails again.
Yeah. Okay, so I know where the rails are. This is from Wired.com, and I don't know if it's actually going to... Ooh. Oh, maybe I'm not going to do this one. Apparently this is paid content here. Hang on, let me see if I can pull this up maybe somewhere else. $10 a month. Fuck you, Wired. 6
Exactly.
months
That's
for
how I feel about Spotify.
6 months for $5. Fuck you. After 6 months, it renews automatically at 1 year for $29.99.
Damn.
Get fucked, Wired. I don't have the money for that right now anyway. I literally don't have $5. It was a rough week this week. Let's see if NBC Boston is going to give us something to work with. Yep, here's a whole article. Thanks, NBC Boston.
You're welcome.
All right.
I'm also enjoying your flaming cursor.
Oh, thanks. I thought I'd call back to 1999. Ooh, that was dead on for both of us.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
That's awesome. I always
Yeah.
pause before we say it because whenever we do it, we always have like that 2-second pregnant pause before we say goodnight. Like
Yeah.
when we record in person, we look each other in the eyes.
Yeah. Awkwardly
Moving
while
real
we're
close.
jerking it.
No.
No, that's not a thing that happens. That's
Get
not a
outta
thing
here
that
with
happens
that.
in the outtakes, listeners.
You're going to, the outtakes. Yeah. Hey, now that we're here in the outtakes, listener, we can tell you Remington jerks off a lot. It's almost become a problem at this point. So if any of you have any tips on how to get Remington to stop jerking off, give us a call at 978-DU Ogres.
I got a tip for you.
Get out of here, Winnie.
Yeah, the move to Brandon recording at his house and me recording at my house was a terrible move. I get distracted very easily.
Yeah, I need to come back and record sometime now. Like at
yeah,
your
but
place.
that means I have to clean up the room and set up your mic, and
it's a tiny ass room. You don't need to do that much cleaning.
You're a tiny ass person.
Well, shit. Okay.
You're a tiny ass person.
Yeah, give me that ass.
Hey, take it. Give me that tail over here.
Over there, over here, over everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm going to stop the recording now.
Yeah, stop the recording. And stop the sucking.
God.
Winnie, come on.
I should have sold that a little more dejectedly, but I like it.